Most producers think you need TV industry connections to get your first TV placement, but that's not true. The truth is, I landed mine before I even knew anyone in the TV and film business. In this video, I'll show you the real key to getting TV placements when you're starting from scratch. So let's start when I first tried to get my first TV placement. The mindset I had was that I need to go out and like network with all these movie producers, directors, and all these people who have their hands in a TV show or a movie during the production phase. And I was sadly mistaken, because what I later found out was that a lot of the music that's being placed is happening in post-production. It's not even happening in production or pre-production. I've even spoke to people on set, just in being an extra on TV shows and movies and things like that. And a lot of those people on set had no idea who even worked in post-production. Like, it was just a completely different part of the process when putting a TV show or a film together. So I was just like, yeah, I'm wasting a lot of time trying to find these connections of people who work in production when, the producer's probably super busy, unless it's like an indie film or something like that. Director is too busy directing, like he's focusing on what he does best. He's probably not even thinking about the music at this point. They're just trying to get the best performances out of the actors in that moment. So fast forward some years down the line, after I learned a few things, I learned that the people who are actually placing the music, which we call music supervisors, and people who are also involved in that music selection process, music coordinators, music supervisors, maybe the composer of the show or movie, those are the ones that are typically working during the post-production phase. So a lot of producers shift to, okay, well, let me try and reach out to as many music supervisors as possible. So now you're trying to build relationships with all these different networks and music supervisors, individuals, when you could cut down a lot of that work simply by going to one source who has connections to all of these different individuals, right? So let's take my guy Omarion, for example. So he locked in with two sync companies. He's a producer inside of our Sync Producer Hub community, where we teach producers how to produce, prepare, and pitch placement ready music for TV. He says, I just started Sync not long ago, 5 days to be exact, and already locked in with two companies directly who worked with Microsoft, Ubisoft, MTV, Rockstar Games, and more. This is y'all signal to keep going no matter what. You owe it to yourself to be the best you can be, and not one of these quote unquote what if people. And he's absolutely right. What he discovered and what we teach inside of our community, the link is in the description if you want to check it out, is that you can go to sync licensing companies, music libraries, production music libraries, do one deal with that one company, send your music to them, and they will get your music in the hands of all of the individuals across all these networks. He named TV networks, he named video game companies, all these different types of connections that came from him connecting with one company. And that's the power in the connections and knowing like who to reach out to versus spending a bunch of energy reaching out to people who probably have no idea where to even begin when it comes to syncing music in TV and film. So in this video, I'm going to show you the real key to getting TV placements when you're starting from scratch. I'm going to show you just some core principles that you can apply when you're going through this process, and I think it's going to help you out a lot. So I want to also emphasize the power of preparation, following up, and consistency, because without being prepared, even if Omarion reached out to the company that he did the deal with unprepared, he would probably get rejected. And that's what he learned inside the community. Is just like, yo, how can you avoid rejection? So when you do reach out, they take you professionally, they take you seriously, and they know like, okay, this person did their due diligence before reaching out. let's give him a chance, an opportunity. Let's send him some briefs so that he can ultimately get his music placed in TV and film. And then you have to follow up. You can't just quit and say, oh, well, they didn't hit me back. Like, I guess they didn't like my music. No, you have to follow up. You have to be consistent. And you also can't stop with just submitting to one company. You have to submit to multiple companies until someone hits you back, either gives you some feedback or gives you a yes or gives you next steps so that you know how to move forward. If you want to learn how to prep your music for these kinds of opportunities, comment free guide and I'll send you my free Sync Producer Quick Start Guide. It's the same blueprint I use to get started. So there's 3 pillars that will help you land TV placements. The first one is catalog, building the right kind of music. When I got started, I made the mistake of sending literally like anything I can think of. Like, I didn't do any research. I was just like, yo, this is what I created in my studio. This is what I feel is dope. Here you go, place it. And I got 0 placements. I didn't even get any licensing deals. And what I learned was that instead of pitching blindly and just pitching what you think is dope and what you think people need, take the time and do market research instead. Watch the TV shows, watch the movie trailers, watch the commercials, listen to the music, listen to the lyrics. What are some common tempos you pick up on? What are some common instrumentation or common genres that you pick up on? What are some common lyrical themes that you hear across these different platforms to give you an idea of what's already working? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You have to figure out what's already working so that you can take that, make it your own, and then pitch that. That is instantly going to increase your chances of your music getting signed and ultimately getting placed. All right, so that's the first one. Number 2 is connections. Relationships with libraries, not necessarily the execs, not necessarily the people in production, which is the lesson I learned earlier on in my career, but connecting with the right companies, connecting with the right people. If you are going to reach out to a music supervisor, making sure you're reaching out to a music supervisor who actually likes and places music in your lane. Because if there's no alignment, it still won't work anyway. Even though you have the right person, it may not be the right relationship or connection for you at that time. Another thing to think about when it comes to connections is sometimes you may not have a deal directly with the publisher. It may be a collaborator you're working on or working with that may have the connection that could end up turning into placements. I have a prime example here, which is my guy Kelvin. He actually ended up getting his first TV placements through a collaboration that he did. He says, first placements and more to come. Trust in God. All glory to God. I found out I landed a placement on Love is Blind season 7 as I was watching it with my wife. It's such a cool feeling. Big shout out to Clint for believing in me and reaching out to me to work on it with him. It's truly an honor. It's the 4th placement so far with the same track. God is good, and I can't stress that enough. So I think the first time we found out that which one was first, Love is Blind. I can't remember if it was Love is Blind or Tyler Perry's Sisters, but we got it placed on both of those episodes. And then later on, we found out it was placed overseas on this show on Netflix called Fight for Paradise. So it's been used a few times already, and that's through the power of collaboration. Like, Kelvin didn't have a publishing deal directly with the company. I had the publishing deal, but we collaborated, and because of that collaboration, he was able to land his first sync placements, which is super dope. And now he has that credibility that he can leverage when he's talking to other publishers and signing his own deals, because now it shows, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. He's gotten placements on some of the biggest shows on Netflix. So it says a lot, and it's going to be easier for him to open up certain doors because of that. So don't take for granted the collaborations that you have. We do a lot of collaborations inside of our community, and there's a lot of dope producers in there, a lot of dope songwriters, rappers, all types of talent, musicians. And those collaborations lead to placement. So take collaboration seriously. The third thing is consistency. You have to stay active and you have to pitch consistently, especially if you're just starting out and you're trying to get your first publishing deals with music libraries and sync licensing companies and agents and things like that, you have to stay consistent. I always recommend producers reach out to like 3 to 5 companies every day for 30 days straight so that they can start building that momentum and getting feedback on their music and hopefully getting licensing deals, because it's that consistency that gets the snowball rolling. You know, I come across producers where they're like, hey, I reached out to a couple companies and I haven't heard anything back. So then I asked them, well, like, how long ago was that? It was like, oh, that was like a few months ago. Then I asked, well, have you reached out to any other company since then? No, I'm still waiting for them to hit back. Well, that's why things are moving slow for you, because you're not consistent. You stopped. You pitched to a couple companies and then you stopped. You thought that was enough, but it's not. And now it's going to take you longer to see success. It's going to take you longer to get publishing deals. It's going to take you longer to get sync placements. It's going to take you longer to get royalty checks, because while the producers over here are taking action consistently and building that momentum and seeing exponential growth because it just continues to compound that action taking, they're getting results and you're waiting for a response when you could keep moving and keep building momentum so that once they do, if they finally hit you back, you've already been working and if you've already signed like multiple deals since then. So consistency is key. And then once you get those deals in place, you have to continue to be consistent in submitting music to those publishers so that you can increase the chances of your music actually getting placed, actually getting used. And this is what's going to help you get to the next level and eventually start seeing TV placements with your music. In the next video, I'll show you exactly who to send your music to and how to make your first pitch stand out. So make sure you check that out. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.